So the new Sony A7 Mark V, fantastic bit of kit by the looks of things. Looking at the few videos that have been out there um, from the bigger YouTubers out there, you can also get a 200 quid saving on any of the, well, not on any of them, on some of the GM lenses out there. But it's a 33 megapixel camera, 30 frames per second, up to 30 frames per second bursts, and up to date AI controlled autofocus with tracking for all these different subjects that it can decides it wants to follow. So up to 4K 120, it will do 240 frames per second in HD as well. And yeah, some people are calling it a baby A1. I mean, it's not quite, but it's still a fantastic bit of kit, and I think they are just slowly improving all the sort of functionality and everything we've got there. They've now integrated the AI chip, which the A7R Mark V, the A7CR2, and the A6700, and etc., and the A1 Mark II had a separate chip, and they've now integrated that into the one main chip. So it's using less power, probably more efficient as well. So you've got even more up-to-date, faster, more accurate autofocus. So there we go. Let's say 33 megapixels, partially stacked sensor, which means you have a readout speed of around about 12 milliseconds, which is extremely quick, and you are going to get less rolling shutter issues. So you can shoot wildlife stuff with it pretty well. You are going to get the odd problem with the rolling shutter where you're, say, if you're watching a golfer, for example, or a baseball player or tennis player, you might end up with a bent bat or racket or something like that, or a funny shaped ball, if you happen to get one of them in shot. But the difference between there is you've got 12 milliseconds roughly readout speed off the sensor compared to something like the A1 and the A1 Mark II, which is around just over 3 milliseconds. So quite a big difference in the speed, but then half the price in camera. Up to 1/16,000 per second shutter speeds maximum, versus something like the A1, which can do 1/32,000 per second. Rarely go that fast, but sometimes you do. So it's quite handy to have sometimes in certain situations. Up to 30 frames per second bursts. I think it can do 15 or 30, depending on what setting you got it in there. Yeah, we know the quality of the image is going to be brilliant. All cameras out there now, I don't think there's anything bad really in the real world now, from decent companies. All the cameras now, it doesn't matter if you're using Canon, Nikon, Hasselblad, Sony, Pentax, Fuji, whoever, they're all amazing. And they've all got different functionalities that, you either, you're going to like. So, and it's the reason you choose a particular brand. Either you like it or it's got something that the other companies don't do. So there you go. It's got deep learning, light source estimation, so white balance should be a bit more accurate. Composite raw support, so basically it will overlay, a bit like bracketing, but you overlay shots, and it will put them together. So basically you end up with better, cleaner images, especially at higher ISO. Extended raw processing apparently offers enhanced raw development. 5-axis optical stabilization, 7.5 steps. So central 6.5 step stabilization, allowing handling, shooting, and no need for boost sensitivity using compatible lenses. So there we go. You've got lossless compressed raw. You've got raw HQ now. Compressed HQ format provides even greater compression in a lightweight raw files, whilst prioritizing image quality. So basically, if you're doing fast bursts, you'll be using that to give you the thing real-time autofocus recognition. So it now knows what a human is big time. It also knows what a plane, a car, a butterfly, a pigeon, a Dalmatian, and a train is. Reliable real-time tracking between trees and things like that. Most of the cameras do extremely well anyway, but it's just now more dialed in. especially with that extra chip built in. 759 focal points. Well, that's crazy. It's pretty much the whole sensor, and it's 94% coverage, which is great because it does give you that autofocus usability. But I can remember back, DSLR's time, I think I had 6 or 8 focus points, my first one. So yeah, we've gone a long way. And now you've got extra small in the focus area settings, which is really quite nice. Even precise autofocus in low lights. Latest AF algorithms achieve high autofocus precision down to light levels as low as -4 stops. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was doing eye autofocus in past dusk with the A1, even the A7R3. But you obviously need a decent fast lens on there to help you with that situation. Obviously, blackout free, 30 frames per second. You can watch the reviews. The pre-capture, that's quite a nice thing to have. Not something I'd use because I quite like the challenge of trying to capture something happening, but it's there if you want to use it, and it's something that people do obviously like to have. Speed boost obviously is helpful, so you can temporarily change your 10 frames per second to 30, for example, in a push of a button. So you're not just wasting files basically on your or space on your memory card constantly. It doesn't have 2 CF Express A card slots. It has an SD card and so it has 2 slots. One's an SD card and one is CF CF I can't speak. CF Express A card, which can also take an SD card. So you could put 2 SD cards in there. And to be fair, 2 fast SD cards are probably absolutely fine. Depending if you're going to be doing a lot of 30 frames per second, most of the time you'll be absolutely fine with it. Up to 120 frames a second, 4K, but with a crop. Also stable active mode, handheld shooting. So even using 4K 120, it allows it to basically give you a better thing, and also extreme stabilization with dynamic active mode, which allows you improve stabilization approximately 30%, even in than just active mode, and makes it even possible to run around with the camera. Apparently, you've got the 4-axis flippy screen, which I think is quite nice to have. Magnesium alloy chassis. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but we've got a 3.8 million dot EVF. Lower resolution means less power use, but I do love my A1 EVF, which is much, much higher resolution. Dust and moisture resistant design. How resistant? I don't know. Can you shower with it? I don't know. Much newer and better updated heatsink for the video, and they've been filming with it until the battery runs out and there's no overheating. So in general, so I think that's a good thing. That's the body. It's basically the same as all the other new Sonys now. So yeah, it looks like a Sony at the end of the day. Fast, stable connectivity with the Wi-Fi. It's not something that I use. Easy live streaming, which I think is really nice if you do podcasts and stuff like that. But also, it now has 2 USB-C ports. One for charge, it's like power, and the other one for the streaming side of things. Also has a full-size HDMI port as well. You obviously got the Creators app, the Imaging Edge desktop software, and monitor and control app as well. You can have the camera authenticity solution, which is a paid service, which basically proves that your work is real. Not something I'm really bothered about. And now you've got no plastic, so it's all non-plastic and recyclable materials. But I keep my box anyway, so it keeps the value of the camera. That's it. Let me know what you think. Is it something you want to buy? I think it's a bit of a fantastic camera. If you look at the prices, so if we know it's £2,799 for the body. If we go back to 2000 and something, the A7 IV, for example, you can get one of those for now around about 1,600 quid. They first came out in 2021, 22. I remember that. 2021. There we go. In late 2021, so almost 2022. £2,499. So it's only a couple of £100 difference in reality. And the extra tech you're getting, I think it's worth the upgrade if you were going to buy this camera. Do you keep your A7 IV as a backup camera and buy one of these? I think for wedding shooters and stuff like that, I think it'd be quite a fantastic bit of kit. But going back to 2017, I purchased a Sony A7R3, which is the 42 megapixel version of the cameras, and it was 3,200 quid. So the kit you're getting here, it's only 9 megapixels difference, but in resolution, so it's not a huge amount in resolution, but the extra tech you're getting for less money, I think is actually quite a good thing, especially with the decent screen and all that sort of stuff. So it's almost like tech has moved on and prices have not fallen, but they've slotted into a better position, I think. Especially when you've got the higher end stuff like the A9 III, the A1 Mark II, for example, which are obviously 6,000 plus. So these cameras here, the tech you're getting, I think it's actually really quite a nice price. So anyway, have you got one coming? Are you thinking about buying one? But there we go. Yeah, let us know. I'll see you soon for another video.